welcome to Hypothetically Intentional, where we ask the question, what if we set intentions with everything we did? I'm your son, Andrew.
And I'm your mom, Michelle.
And, well, as with every episode, we're going to start today by setting an intention. So we have, once again, brought out the old Divine Dog Wisdom Cards deck.
Yeah.
Same as last week. And Mom has prepared a card to pull.
I have prepared a card to pull. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Cooperation. Better together.
Ooh.
You want to describe the picture?
Yes, it's two puppers going through the water, carrying a stick together. They're cooperating and bringing the water. It looks like there's little sparkles glittering off of the water, and that makes the dogs look like they're like fairies or from the ethereal plane, and it's adorable. It reminds me of Lego and Yeti,
Yeah.
Our dogs, who oftentimes Yeti will go grab the stick that we throw, and on his way back, Lego will I try and take it from his mouth, and they'll end up just carrying it back together.
Yeah.
Just maybe not quite cooperation.
Maybe not quite.
but it sure is adorable.
Yeah.
So what does cooperation better together mean to you?
To me, it means that, well, better together sums it up quite nicely, but it means that when we can bring more people together who like vibe with us, right? Who resonate with us, I feel like there are people that can amplify us, and then there's people that can do the opposite of that, right? Like be almost like an energy vampire. And I feel like when we find the people that we're meant to connect with, I think we raise each other. And I think that can be true no matter what when we meet each other in a certain kind of way. So there's something about connecting. As humans, I think connection is important. And I think that when we are open to that, and when we risk having our hearts, broken in some way, and I'm not talking about love necessarily, I'm talking about just relationships in general. Anytime you connect with another human, there's a potential for some sort of pain, but there's also a potential for a lot of growth, and beautiful things can happen. That's my take on it.
I like it. So maybe our intention for today's episode could be to invest that risk, knowing that we'll get something more out of it.
Yeah, I love it.
Good to jump right into the article?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay.
Excited. I'm excited for your artital.
Oh, good. Well, this article is about how to record audio on iMovie.
Are you joking?
Now, that is what I pulled up because we were having trouble starting the recording, but I do have an actual article. No, so I decided to go with something that might be a bit different for us, a bit more sort of, well, it depends on how we take it. I want us to go maybe a bit rapid fire, or at least have a lot of options. 150 quotes.
Oh my gosh.
150 life quotes inspiring the happy, good, and funny in life on parade.com. So I'm not going to read all 150 quotes. Don't worry. But we can go through and pick which ones seem interesting and see if we agree or disagree or how we feel about it.
How it makes us feel about it? Yeah. All right. Yeah, and I invite the people listening to also just take pause and see if they feel how they feel about them.
Yeah.
If you have a journal next to you, you can even write it out.
Ooh.
I do like journaling.
I don't know if these are going on YouTube or podcast app or what, but if there's a comment section wherever it is, you should put it in the comments.
That would be amazing.
So we can see, because we gotta build a community with our lovely listeners.
Can you put things without video on them on YouTube?
Well, you would just put a background loop
like a
of
holder.
a video
Got it.
or a picture or something. Yeah.
Ooh, I'm gonna have to take a picture before you leave today. Get your mug on it.
Oh. I don't know if they're ready for that. We got to save that for when we have 100,000 subscribers, then we can do a face reveal.
That's fair. I like that. I'm good with that.
Yeah. So tell your friends about this podcast if you want to see my very handsome face.
Very handsome face.
And, your face is all over, so they might already know your face.
They might already know my face. If they don't, that's okay. Yeah. I actually like the mystery of not knowing the faces.
That's true.
Because then you get how when you read a book, you get an idea of the face, and then they make a movie, and you're like, that's not at all what they looked like in my mind.
Yeah. It's come to think of it, it's a shame we used their real names. We could have really left it a mystery.
We could have.
But okay, we can jump into the first quote.
I'm ready.
Quote number 1 from the Dalai Lama. The purpose of our lives is to be happy. Do you agree with that?
I think it's a good goal.
It's a good goal. I agree.
I would change it to the purpose of our lives is to make others happy, but maybe that's because I'm a giver.
It's interesting. Yeah, I think that's fair. I think like my instinct like to address those would just be to make as many people happy as possible, like including yourself.
For sure, I like that better.
Yourself.
Yes.
Like,
yeah.
We don't need to.
Well, because to me, I go to like if we're making other people happy, that should or might also bring us joy. I do think being happy. I don't think you can bring happiness to others if you're not happy within yourself, really.
Yeah.
And that's maybe too absolute because that's probably not true. But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and it's definitely harder, and like, yeah, at the very least.
Yeah.
What I think is interesting about this one, and I picked it for the first one for us to go through, is whether happiness is like the purpose or like whether it's the end all be all. Because like, I don't know, I think a life that was only happiness would be missing something. Like.
I don't think a life that was only happiness would even like you wouldn't. I don't know that you would function in the world.
Right.
Because you need the pain to learn and grow and evolve and become, well, period, just become.
Yeah.
Who are you? Who are you going to be? And then in your being. Yeah.
Yeah, like it's interesting because like, I don't know, I've thought about this a lot. I'm taking a psychology class and a philosophy class right now, and both classes have touched on this topic. When you start trying to actually like really define like what is it that makes life like good or not even necessarily good but like worthwhile or meaningful, it's really difficult to like put a word to that or even put a sentence or a book to that. Like I mean, like the question of what is the meaning of life is like the prototypical existential question of philosophy or whatever that like everyone like thinks of, like, oh yeah, what's the meaning of life? But like, I don't know. I think to say the purpose of our lives is to be happy is missing something.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
But I think like the energy behind that statement of like try to be happy and make other people happy is 100% good, and like I don't have a problem with the quote, even if it isn't like I don't like agree with its literal interpretation.
Yeah, I went a lot of different places while you were talking there, and then they all just escaped my brain.
Oh,
but,
no.
No, it's okay. It was good. I mean, yeah, and I think here's the other thing. I think a lot of people don't know what brings them joy, what makes them happy. I think we don't take the time to know. I know some things that make me happy, but I don't necessarily know. Well, I definitely don't know all the things, but I'm not even sure. Like there are some moments I don't know what it is even in that moment that would or could make me happy, right? Because sometimes we have those moments.
Yeah.
So yeah, the purpose of life is to be happy. It feels too simple to me. But I do get it. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that what you said made me think of like, yeah, there's like different, like almost like different like levels or like layers of happiness. Like there's one level of happiness that's like very acute, zoom in on your life.
Yeah.
Right now I am on a roller coaster, I'm happy, something like that, like very like in the moment, very experiential, like how are you feeling? I'm feeling happy. But then there's also like a more broader level. If you step back from your life, are you happy? Are you happy with your life? That sort of thing. And just like by context clues, I would imagine this quote is talking closer to that second one, although possibly both, possibly something more nuanced than that. But I think like they definitely aren't the same thing. Like it's almost like we use the same word for them, but they're not the same thing.
Well, and as you were talking about like the outside, like looking in, like that thing, I mean in my mind's eye, my third eye is like our light, like shining. Like if our light is shining without obstruction or like, right, if we're not like behind walls and hiding, like to me but then I wouldn't use the word happy. It feels more like limitless possibilities and freedom and joy, but it's more in depth. Like the word happy to me feels too simple, but honestly if everyone was happy, what would this world look like? I don't think they can be happy all the time, though. That's where I go to break it down. I'm like, well, if everyone was happy all the time, we'd be bored.
Yeah.
We need a good challenge. It's like, you know.
What does happy mean if there is no sad?
Exactly.
Like,
it's like shadow and light. You need both, and light and sad. Yeah, you need the duality of and for the human experience. Yeah. All right, what's the next quote?
Next quote. That's a good question. Let's see here. What's a good one? Here's an interesting one that I'm not sure how I feel about, actually. If you want to live a happy life, tie it to a goal, not to people or things. Albert Einstein. You're about to say something. What are you thinking?
Well, I just listened to this. It was a YouTube video. I can't remember who it was now, but he was talking about how, like, he's a professor at Harvard, and when he told people he was working there, they said, you know, oh, that must be the happiest place. They must be so relieved there. And he's like, no, actually they're not. They're miserable, because once they achieve their goal, they reset their goal, and so they're never. It's unachievable. Like, they can never get there. So that's how we, like, define success and happiness. And so, like, if you set goal, so instead of, like, the success or the happiness being at the end of the goal or after you've achieved the goal, it's more like, it's not about the goal itself. It's about, because if your goal is to make so many sales, then your next goal is going to be just to keep making more, right? Like, there's never an end to it. So it's like, it's about being, like, in the present moment with a positive mindset, which is joyful, versus, like, the constant struggle. So I don't know. And for me to take people out of my world, like, as much as I can be introverted and not, you know, I also, like, people are important to me, and community is important to me, and to think about. But I get I mean, you know, if I look at in my Thai massage training, it's a Buddhist practice, and they talk a lot about non-attachment, because attachment creates suffering. So it's like this: if people and things are what's bringing you all of your joy and your happiness, they're like, suffering is inevitable. But I think life is suffering on some level. Like, suffering is inevitable in life, I guess is what I meant to say, right? So I don't know. That's like a deep question. I don't know how I feel about it.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
Yeah, I think I agree with everything you said, where, like, in the one sense, like, trying to isolate your happiness from, like, the people around you and, like, even the stuff around you, like, I don't know. I think I think it's almost like a moot point. Like, like, to say, like, place your happiness in this thing. Well, I can't control what makes me happy. Like, I can control my perspective on life and certain things, and, like, sort of indirectly through, like, certain ways. But, like, I don't know. Like, you can, in some sense, like, change what you care about.
Well, and I will say, as you're speaking, like, if you're relying on anything outside of yourself to be the thing that makes you happy, you're screwed. Like, it doesn't work that way. It comes from within. Like, you are the one who chooses whether or not to be happy. If I rely on you to make me happy, that means at some point you will not do the things that make me happy, and I will not be happy anymore, because it requires you. Do you know what I mean?
I know what you mean. I'm not sure that I agree with that. Like that's a very, like, individualistic, like, frame of mind, I feel like, where, like, all of your happiness, like, comes from within. And, like, I 100% agree that not all of your happiness should be invested in a particular thing. I think that is clear. But I think that includes yourself. I don't think all of your happiness should be invested in the particular thing.
Oh, I'm not saying other things can't make you happy. I'm saying if that's the only way for you to find happiness, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if I require you to make me feel validated, and if you don't validate me, then I hate myself, that's a problem.
Yeah.
That's what I mean by the internal world thing. It's like, if my internal world, outside of you telling me something that makes me feel validated, if that's required for me to feel happy about myself or good about myself, like, if I can't just celebrate my own win without you validating it in some way, that's not to say that you validating it doesn't, like, bring in extra joy, because it 100% will. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. I think a lot of people, including myself, when they hear messages like that, like, in my own experience, like, I have taken that to mean everything has to come from within. You like you can't need other people to be happy at all. And like I think that is not true. Like I think it's okay to like be a part of something bigger, a part of like the world around you, and rely on that sometimes.
Yeah, I think we're talking about different things.
Maybe we are. Like it's everyone's like own path to get to their own happiness. Like it's your own fight to fight.
Yeah. I think it's funny that it's like you say fight to get happy. That's amazing.
Well, yeah, but like I maybe this is just my perspective as like someone who like thinks a lot about like mental illness and like has a lot of people in my life who I care about who have like struggled with mental illness. And like it's your own like journey, like and it's taken me a long time to learn this, and I'm still not 100% great at it, but like to see people going through whatever struggles they're going through and let that be their journey, right? And not try and step in and like fix everything for them, because that doesn't work. I know that.
It doesn't.
Like I know that in my head.
That's enabling.
I don't always know that in my
It's so many times enabling.
actions,
I mean, it's not always enabling, but often.
Right.
Maybe it is always. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it definitely is. Yeah.
But like I don't think that it's true that that means that you're on your own, if that makes sense. Like I always say, I say is like you can have other people in your corner, but you're the one fighting the fight. So
yeah, that's what I mean when I say internal world. I'm not saying that other people can't be part of it. I'm not saying that, but ultimately, like, it's your internal world that chooses all the things. So your internal world choosing to let somebody else in or not, or choosing to fight the fight all alone or with other people, and who you choose in. Because like for me, it's like for so long, the people that I let in to quote unquote help me were not helping me. And it was ultimately my internal world that had to be healed before I could figure out what was for the best and highest good, what was actually helpful for me. But that didn't come from outside. That comes from me fucking shit up and figuring it out. So I get what you're saying, and I understand how it can feel isolating. I think it's more of this is one of those like language things where like the words aren't adequate, and like I might have to put some thought into thinking about like how to explain that, because I'm all about like control the internal world and then the external world becomes more accessible and available. But if you don't have any control over the internal world, like you might need help from the external world first until you can find that like equilibrium of sorts and within to then be able to. But ultimately, like I think about this is such a simplified example. But if I'm sitting in traffic and I'm just frustrated as heck, that's on me. I made that choice to be mad about it. But if I'm sitting in traffic and I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to be late. I'm going to have to like think about my next step and be productive with it, or even like roll down my window and blow bubbles and bring some joy to the situation. Like all of that is my internal world and my internal choice of how I'm interacting with that particular instance. I could roll down a window and have a conversation with someone too. That's inviting someone else in. And I don't know, they might be mad and yell at me or they might like make it fun. But I think does that help with the whole like internal world versus external world thing? Yeah,
I think so. Like I think.
And I don't think you're wrong or I'm right or like anything like that. It's just more, I think the words are hard for this particular thing.
Yeah, it maybe to interpret what you're getting at, so you can tell me if this is right or wrong. It sounds like you're saying like a lot of people underestimate how much power they have over their internal world.
Yes.
Which I 100% agree with. And like that's a really hard place to be in when you don't know, or when you like resign, like it's like almost like learned helplessness. Like
yeah, and I just keep hearing like you're stuck in a loop, and it's just a pattern that your brain has like it's such a deep, like you're on a, I think Kat describes it as like a lane on a highway, and it's like you're stuck, you can't get off that lane, but you need to find the exit ramp because this lane isn't working for you anymore and it's not taking you even where you want to go.
Yeah.
And you're the one with the exit ramp.
Right. And I think what I'm saying is like there's absolutely nothing wrong, and I'm not saying you're saying that there is anything wrong with this, but there's absolutely nothing wrong with having other people help you like see that and get there. Or,
oh my gosh, no, of course not. If that were the case, if I actually believed that, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing.
Exactly. Yeah, that is like
because that is what I do.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think empowering people to see that they do have
Right.
choices, they do have strength, they
Yeah.
have way more courage than they realize that they do, and that it's a matter of, sometimes it's just a matter of reframing how you're seeing certain things, and somebody to like hold up that mirror and say, or even hold up a new window to say, look, did you know that this was over here? This is amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost like you could say like everyone's power is within themselves, but sometimes you need other people to help you realize that power.
Everyone's power is within themselves, and sometimes you need to realize or you need other people. Yeah. But is like you don't hear the first sentence, and is like a connector.
Sure. Yeah.
If we're talking about words.
Yeah.
Because that didn't feel like a but to me. I was like, no, it's not a but. That's good. It's an and.
Yes.
This is an and situation. Yeah.
Sure.
That was a big one. That took us a while.
It did.
You got another one? We'll do 3.
Okay, yeah, let's do one more.
As he rubs his beard in perplexion. Are you perplexed? Are you thinking?
Okay, this is an interesting one. And I think we may have differing perspectives on this one. I'm not sure, though. I don't know. This is from Henry Ford. The whole secret of a successful life is to find out what is one's destiny to do, and then do it.
I think that totally depends on everyone's definition of success, and I think that's different for everyone. So I'm not... I mean, maybe, but I think success is so personal and relative.
What about for your definition of success? Would you say that's true for you?
I don't know. That there's something about that doesn't sit right with me, but I don't know what it is. I feel like it feels too rigid, like too finite. Like my destiny is one thing. What if my destiny is a lot of different things? And what if my destiny changes and evolves as I change and evolve and grow? Like I'm not the same person I was when I was 14. I'm not the same person I was when I was 20. Thank God, right? Like I'm not the same person I mean, I was an asshole for a really long time. I think my destiny then was just to figure out how not to be an asshole. Do you know what I mean? And now I feel like, I don't know. So does that make sense, what I just said?
Yeah.
That's my take on that.
Yeah, to me, when you say that, it sounds like you don't believe in destiny.
That might be true.
Which is I completely agree. I don't believe in destiny at all. That's my hot take for the day. I don't know how hot of a take it is, but that's my take for the day. I think like the idea that we have like a predestined...
Yeah, I believe in free will and choices, and I believe you can... I mean, I read tarot, and I don't believe that is a predictor of the future. I believe it's a snapshot of what's going on right now, and then you get to use your free will to make choices to either shift it, enhance it, grow it. Like, yeah, I think things are malleable, and we have a choice, and we can make free will choices that will... I don't know. I feel like my destiny could have been a lot of different things. Which then isn't that word, is it?
Yeah, exactly. Like if your destiny changes over time, it's not destiny. That's my point. Like, and sure, if you want to use that word, like if there are people who that for them that word means something else, like that's okay.
Or even if it means that for them, that's okay too.
Right? Yeah, sure. But like for me, like, and it's just interesting because I have like a if you get really technical about it, like if you want to get really nitpicky about it, I don't believe in free will in a certain sense. In the sense that I believe that the laws of physics and matter interacting or whatever are the same for our bodies as they are for the stars and the planets and rocks and all that. Like, so in that, I don't believe that there's like an external like soul or like entity in each of us that is like making choices that's influencing our universe through our bodies or anything like that. But that doesn't like I still say that I believe in free will when I'm not being super like obnoxious about it. Because like for me, when I say me, my identity is like my brain and my body, and like that includes the particles that make them up and the laws that determine how those particles interact. And like that is a part of me. Like that is me. That is where I place my identity, is in like all that junk. Right. I say that with affection. That's not me calling myself junk. That's just like, it's an affectionate term. Like, so in that sense, like, I believe that, like, you know, I'm obviously our current understanding of like the laws of physics and what makes up people and whatnot isn't complete. It's far from it. Like we don't know. I'm not saying we know all of that, or we can actually use that to like predict what's going on. But I believe that in principle, like if someone had perfect knowledge of every particle in the universe, they could predict what I would do, everything about myself. And like in that sense, it's predetermined. Like I think there's only one possible, well, no, I'm not going to say that. That's not true. But like
I have so many questions as you're talking, but we are seriously not unpacking this on this podcast. But
No?
I have so many questions right now, or at least not now, not today, not this week.
Okay.
But we may unpack them over time. I might have to re-listen to it several times before I actually get all my questions in a row. But yeah, no, I'm fascinated.
I love
this
thinking
is amazing.
about this. But anyway, for like all that being said, like what that means is like because like I have choice over the things that I do, because like we are so far removed, so far abstracted from those laws of physics that determine everything, that like there's literally zero usefulness in thinking about human behavior in that way. So like, do I think everything's predetermined? Like, I guess, like in that sense, but not in any useful or practical way. And I believe that like I do have choice in like what I do in my life, and that there isn't one particular thing, and that should grow and advance as I do as a person and not be a rigid thing.
So how is that not free will?
It is.
Okay.
Yeah, it is. That's why.
You were unpacking how it was like two.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay,
because I think the reason I started that conversation like it is because a lot of people, I think when they're talking about free will get caught up in the like semantics of it. Like what I was saying of like so that was sort of addressing that if we talk about free will and you start saying, well, all of your neurons are firing at this in this way, and you know they obey the laws of physics, and therefore since everything obeys these laws and is therefore in principle determinable.
Yeah, I feel like you're taking a word and making it not a word anymore. Like you said to me earlier weeks ago, where it was like, well, now this word has no meaning because you've unpacked it so far.
Maybe. Maybe.
Okay.
But yeah, I guess. Well, that's sort of the point I'm trying to make.
Yeah, I know. I get it.
Yeah, I guess I'm sharing like several sides of a conversation I've had with myself.
I love
for
it.
22 years.
Yeah. So you have spirituality.
It depends on how you define it.
But again, you wouldn't label it.
I wouldn't call it spirituality. Like for me, I try to just like live in my own experiences and like view my own life like as it is. And I don't find the need personally for there being a higher power or souls or spirits in order to make it meaningful. Like to me,
sure, that makes sense.
The meaning comes from the meaning that I give it and that the people around me give it. And even like beyond the people, like the animals and the trees and the rocks and like all of that, like those things are important to me. And like that's what I love about like seeing myself as like placing my identity in like the matter and the interactions and the laws of that, because then the distinction between me and the rock sitting right there, the soap that looks like a turd, is those boundaries are like in principle fuzzy. I like there aren't words to say it other than like I am one with the universe, which like feels really like spiritual.
I know, but
and
I
like
love
not
that.
like cliche and probably has different meanings and different interpretation. But like in my interpretation, like we're all made of the same stuff. Like we're all.
So I'm doing a book club it's the next book after The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer, and I feel like I want you to read I would love to like have us read that book and then unpack that, because it's like it makes my head spin, and it's like makes me think so hard sometimes, and then it's like it's been 13.9 billion years to get you to this moment. Do you really think that you can change it by, or like those kind of things? It's like I love that. And then I get to that same question I just asked you, well, then what's the point? But I don't mean that in a way that I actually don't believe there's a point if you don't believe a certain thing. It's more like, what really is the point? It's like the question of like the whole question. Why are we here? What is the point? What can we do? And I feel the same way you do. It's like our experiences, how we show up in the world, how we engage with other people, how we engage with animals, how we engage with nature, how we're, and I think as humans, we're fucking all that up. Like, just as a whole, whatever. Anyway, I just think it would be interesting to do that book thing. And
like I've also like sort of come to accept like maybe there's a point, maybe there is, maybe there isn't, and like if there isn't, like I'm okay with that. Like in a universal sense, in an existential sense, is there a reason for the universe to exist? Maybe not. Maybe it's just like weird fluctuations in whatever.
There might be a whole other universe on the other veil.
Maybe there's a God who created this and created a bunch more. Maybe like there's another one where we're both sitting here wearing fedoras and like. And I don't know, smoking doobies.
Maybe you're the mom.
Maybe I'm the mom in one of them. Like, maybe that's like statistically, like certain. Who knows? Like,
is this one gonna be broken into 2 podcasts?
Maybe.
We just editing the shit out of it.
Probably we'll call him A, we'll call him B.
Maybe both. Yeah.
Maybe both. But like, I don't know. I like. After a certain point, those questions sort of lose their meaning to me.
For sure. Me too. And I want to circle back to the whole, like, I really, truly do believe that absolutely everything I believe could be wrong. Mm-hmm. And here's how I show up in the world. What feels true to me today and authentic to me today, that's how I want to show up. Yeah. But I also want to be wiggleable and fluid in, like, it could be anything. I said wiggleable. Wiggleable. That's a really hard word to say. I
love that word. Wiggleable. I'm going to use that now.
So yes, to all of those things. I mean, it's one of those things where at some point you're just talking about nothing.
Yeah.
The words don't matter anymore. It's all relative on how we experience it, define it, feel it, know it, see it, and I do go into the layers of, because I experience them. So what does that mean? I don't know. I didn't believe any of that stuff before, and now here I am experiencing it. Right. What does that mean? I don't know.
Yeah, like to me, like here's like an extreme example. Like, can you prove to me that the universe wasn't created last night?
No.
Right? Like you can't prove that. Any evidence I could
I think they probably
can.
That. Science probably can.
No, because any evidence that is brought up by science can be explained away by saying that evidence was created last night in the way that it was. like where creation of the universe allows. Again, exactly. So that's exactly my point. Like to me, like the existence of a soul or a creator like falls in that same camp where it can't be proven true or false. So like if it gives your life meaning and helps you to think of it in a certain way, do it. Think of it that way. Believe. Stand in your truth. Like do that. For me, what's most useful for me is to like just not think about it too much, because it like those questions that can't be answered. Yeah, I'm all about
surrender and trust and just like be. Yeah. Like, just be. And that's what I teach in my Reiki classes all the time. We just talk about like you're not doing anything.
Yeah.
Your job here is to be.
Right.
And then be in the experience and see what happens.
When you like my belief is like when you can't tell, when you genuinely like cannot determine whether something is true or false, the question stops being what is true, and the question starts being what is most helpful for me to believe.
What is true for you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or I don't even like using the word true. I just like what is most helpful for me to believe.
Yeah.
Like
I like what is for the best and highest good.
Yeah.
But that sometimes can lose meaning too. I think some of I don't know, maybe it's just how my brain works, but like sometimes when I use same phrases or the same structure of words all the time, they start to lose they either start to lose meaning or I start to get bored. I'm unsure which, maybe both.
Yeah.
So it's really hard for me sometimes when I'm teaching too, or working with clients when we're coaching, or like even having these conversations with you. It's like, back to, I think it was the very first podcast we talked about this, words and trusting what they mean and trusting that you can have a conversation so that you're understanding that where you're coming from. I mean, sometimes I have conversations with people and then they come back, 2 weeks later and say, I've been hanging on that thing. And I'm like, well, hang on. Like, what does it mean to you? And then they tell me and I'm like, whoa. We got to circle back. Like, that is not where we were going with that. Certainly that's not the message I was intending to bring out, And so then I love that we can do those things too, right? It's live and learn and ebb and flow and give and grow and all that. I don't know if give and grow really makes sense, but
it rhymed. So by Shmuel's rule, it has to be true.
Right. Oh, I don't remember who I was talking about the other day. We were talking about alliteration, and then I talked about we'd gotten the subject of you guys and puns and that's just like how we tick.
Alliteration. That's Lenny's law. That's
of course it is.
Anything that alliterates has to be true. Okay. You've got Shmuel's rule and Lenny's law.
We'll have to incorporate a couple podcasts about that.
Oh, yeah.
We should definitely do a couple like that.
We gotta get Kieran on here for that, because Kieran, Jake's friend, my brother's friend Kieran, he's the originator of Shmuel's rule and Lenny's law.
Okay, I see.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so funny.
So he can, I'm sure, give us a lot of wisdom about those.
Okay. Thanks for joining us for another week of... I was just thinking highly
Sounds like
intentional.
you're falling asleep. We gotta have
highly intentional is what I was
highly
thinking.
intentional.
That's what I meant.
Well, not yet. That'll be a bonus episode for April 20th.
Okay. Are we really doing that?
No.
Okay, good.
I mean, maybe.
Oh dear.
Who knows? In the episode that's recorded April 20th, just know we may or may not be high.
Well, we're definitely going to be hypothetically intentional.
Hypothetically intentional. That one is guaranteed.
Yeah. Are we high-fiving?
High five. That was a good one.